Hey dads, does the latest remake of How the Grinch Stole Christmas stand up? Will your child enjoy watching it year after year as much as you enjoyed growing up with the original 1966 classic? Abby and I sat down to watch it, and our verdict might surprise you, coming up right after this. Before we get into the movie, if you like what we do here on Daddy-Daughter Movie Night, reviewing films that my daughter and I have watched successfully that I've been able to enjoy as a dad and that she gets something out of, do consider subscribing to our channel right now below, and also hit the like button on this video and all our videos as you watch them. It really does help the channel to grow. Now, this 2018 remake of the classic 1966 How the Grinch Stole Christmas, here entitled simply The Grinch, comes to us from Illumination Studios, who also brought us Sing, which we reviewed earlier in this show. The Grinch expands on the classic tale from 1966, Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. It is star-studded to some degree. It stars the Voikel from Yiddish folklore. Beware the Voikel. It stars the vocal talents of Rashida Jones, Angela Lansbury, Pharrell Williams, Kenan Thompson, and Benedict Cumberbatch as the Grinch. Does it stand up? Well, we went into this movie with mixed expectations. My daughter Abby, she's 4 now, and she has been growing up watching the original 1966 Christmas special. She calls them now, respectively, the old Grinch and the new Grinch, and she asks for it, the new Grinch, by name every so often, even throughout the year. But interestingly enough, she does ask for the old Grinch and the new Grinch in about equal measures, and it's kind of cool to realize that they've come up with a version of How the Grinch Stole Christmas for a new generation. I was sort of dubious going into this because it seemed like an affront. How dare they remake the movie that I grew up with and loved all those years? Well, it's important to realize they didn't replace that movie, and my daughter is living proof that they didn't replace that movie. They just expanded on it. They brought it into this generation's expectations of what a movie looks like. They do remain faithful to the themes and the characters. Of course, they expand on them. This is a feature-length movie. So Cindy Lou Who has a character arc, and her mom has a character arc, and there are extra characters in there. Some of the Who's are singled out. Kenan Thompson plays a very funny character who thinks he's the Grinch's best friend. I do have some gripes about it, which we'll get into, but pleasantly surprised. And if you're my age or thereabouts and grew up with the original, you might be pleasantly surprised too. The plot of this movie closely resembles the plot of the original that you remember. The Grinch lives up the side of Mount Crumpet. He does not enjoy Christmas. Cindy Lou Who lives down in Whoville. We do get to know her a lot better. She's sort of the main character here along with the Grinch. She has a mom played by or voiced by Rashida Jones, who works so hard for the family. Dad seems to be out of the picture, and Cindy Lou is worried about her mom working too hard to take care of them, and she needs some help. It doesn't go any further than that to imply that she needs a new husband or partner, but Cindy Lou is quite worried. She decides to write a letter to Santa Claus to ask him to help her mom. Meanwhile, the Grinch is on his way down to Whoville because he's run out of food. It's right before Christmas, the most loathsome time for the Grinch to be in Whoville. He tries to make a quick trip into town, runs into Cindy Lou. Her letter gets lost as they collide. We find out in this movie that the Grinch, as a little Grinch, was an orphan, lived in the orphanage in Whoville, never had a Christmas, which is kind of odd because the Who's are so nice, but they apparently treat their orphans terribly. That is one of the conceits of the film. So the Grinch grows up hating Christmas because it hurts to look out the orphanage window and see everyone with their families enjoying this holiday but him. All these memories come flooding back to the Grinch as he makes his way through the Christmas holiday crowd in Whoville, and he decides that he must stop Christmas from coming. But how? Just as in the original, he decides to dress up as Santa Claus. He gets help from his dog Max after dismissing a reindeer he captures named Fred, and the two go on that classic ride, stealing all the Who's Christmas trees, presents, everything in town. Cindy Lou, meanwhile, enlists the help of all her little friends to come up with a way to trap Santa and ask him to help her mom. This sets the Grinch and Cindy Lou on a collision course in her house, the last house that he has to ransack before going up the side of Mount Crumpet to dump it. This, of course, is where everything goes wrong. The Grinch is trapped. Cindy Lou reveals her unselfish plan to help her mom. The Grinch is somewhat touched and begins to change subtly from that point on. He nevertheless sends her back to bed, goes up the side of Mount Crumpet with his stash, and at the very last moment, as in the original, he hears the Who's come out, celebrate Christmas, realizes it's not about the stuff. The Grinch's heart grows 3 sizes that day. It is powerful. Somehow, maybe because I grew up with it, that moment is so pivotal and seems more powerful to me in the original, even though it's a sweeping camera move and CGI heart blowing up here. But it does work here, and it worked for my daughter. The Grinch has his change of heart, returns Christmas to the Who's, and he is invited to Christmas dinner at Cindy Lou's house, where her single mom is preparing dinner for all the friends. Seems to ingratiate himself just enough that the older viewers sort of get the gist that maybe he might fill that slot in their family after the movie is over. But as far as my 4-year-old was concerned, he is now just a bad guy who's become a good guy, seen the error of his ways, and wants to be nice and love Christmas just like the Who's and just like her. As a child of the 1966 original, I was primed and ready to hate this movie and tear it down. I had even indoctrinated Abby to prefer the 1966 original. But you know what? This movie's pretty good. I will say the narration by Pharrell Williams was a little bit off-putting for me at first. He's such a soft-spoken narrator, and the original narration by Boris Karloff is just so perfect for that film. But this is a feature-length movie. If they had played the narrator as a character, I think it would have hit you over the head a little bit and just been too much for a feature film. So I think they did something very smart here in reining it in and pulling it back with a soft-spoken narrator who after a while just becomes the internal voice of the viewer. Very well done by Pharrell Williams. I'll say sort of the same thing about the voicing of the Grinch by Benedict Cumberbatch. His voicing of the Grinch at first puzzled me. It's just sort of this plain, generic voice. But then I realized that the Grinch in this film is not conveying the same message that the Grinch in the other film is. They are to a degree. His heart grows 3 sizes and he does become a good Grinch instead of a bad Grinch. But here he has to sort of fit into society after the story is over. And to some degree, we get the impression that he has to fit into Cindy Lou's family after a while. So you can't have this monster. You have to have him be just another person. Just another type of who's gotten down the wrong path. And it was pretty smart, I think. After a while, I realized Cumberbatch did a really good job. It's not his most bravado sort of role that he's ever done, but it is appropriate and it is kind of perfect for what they were doing here. So hats off to him too. Fast forward score is low. It's not 0, depending on the sensitivity of your kid and your parenting style. The Grinch does engage in sort of cartoon violence. So it's in there in the low zone, but it's not without any concern. You should sort of have the remote control ready and be ready to fast forward anything that you don't want your kids to emulate. At the age of 4, my daughter is right there at the right age to see this film for the first time. The first time she watched it, the Grinch was a little scary. The introduction was a little scary, but it becomes lighthearted enough very quickly, and she navigated that just fine. Daddy's reason to watch, you can say Benedict Cumberbatch. You could say Pharrell Williams if you're a fan of his music. You could say Kenan Thompson from SNL. I'm going to go with Danny Elfman, who does the score here, who also did the score for Nightmare Before Christmas. They're very similar movies, Nightmare Before Christmas and The Grinch. Both have characters who become sort of obsessed with Christmas. Both decide to dress up as Santa Claus and in their own way confiscate Christmas, one to destroy it and one to understand it. Very similar characters, some very similar themes going on here about being who you are and changing who you are if you need to, if it's not working for you. And that's a good message for kids, or at least something to be modeled as a possibility for kids, especially in the instance of the Grinch, where he is changing himself for the better. And again, maybe one of the reasons Danny Elfman fits in so well here with this material is because it does tread over some of the same themes. That's just off the cuff, don't know if that was intended, but check out these two moments where the two characters from each of these films kind of comes to the same point before taking over Christmas. It's kind of a little Easter egg in my view, and it's kind of a fun thing to watch out for. So the question I started this review with was, will your kids enjoy watching this movie year after year, just as you did watching the original 1966 How the Grinch Stole Christmas? And the answer to that, I think, is a strong possibly. Yeah, maybe. Yes, I'm going to say. Because my daughter was predisposed to liking the original because I showed it to her. And now she asks for both. They do stand side by side on their own merits, and my daughter loves them both, and I think your kids might too. So check it out, and check us out on Twitter, Facebook, at our website below. Please like this video and all our videos. We'd really appreciate that. And subscribe if you like what we do here on Daddy-Daughter Movie Night, reviewing films that my daughter and I have watched to save you a little time picking out really good stuff that you can enjoy with your kids and maybe have something to talk with them about after the film is over. That's it for now. I'm Tom. This is Daddy-Daughter Movie Night, and we'll see you soon.